Ambassador Tae-young sat in the massive chamber and felt very small. Around him, thousands of alien beings filled the seats. Some had scales, others had fur, and many looked nothing like anything he had ever seen. The Grand Council chamber was built to make visitors feel tiny. It worked. He looked at Representative Hai-jin sitting beside him. She was young, only 29 years old, and this was her first big mission. Her hands were shaking. Tae-young understood why. Today would change everything for humanity. High Counselor Vren stood up. He was tall with silver skin and 4 arms. His species, the Telkari, had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. Vren looked down at the human delegation like a teacher looking at a naughty child. "The Council has reviewed your request for peace," Vren said. His voice echoed through the chamber. "We have decided to be generous." Tae-young waited. He had been a diplomat for 30 years. He knew that when someone said they would be generous, they usually were not. "First," Vren continued, "humanity must surrender all military ships. Second, you will accept Council observers on Earth. They will watch everything you do. Third, you will give us the mining rights to 30 of your colony worlds. Fourth, you will send workers to rebuild the Velkari worlds that were damaged in the war." Hyejin gasped. Tae-young felt his stomach turn cold. These were not peace terms. These were the demands of a conqueror. "Excuse me," Tae-young said calmly. "But the war was not our fault. The Velkari attacked us. We only defended ourselves." Ambassador Quillix, the Velkari representative, stood up. His species looked like giant insects with sharp mandibles. "You fought back too well," he hissed. "You embarrassed us. Now you must pay." Vren raised one of his hands. "This is not a negotiation, Ambassador Tae-young. This is the price of survival. You are a young species. You need our protection. Accept these terms or face the consequences." Tae-young stood up slowly. "May I have time to discuss this with my government?" "You have 1 hour," Vren said. Tae-young and Hyejin left the chamber. They went to a small private room and activated the secure communication device. The face of Admiral Hyunwoo appeared on the screen. He was a hard man who had lost his family when the Velkari bombed New Seoul Colony. "Well?" Hyunwoo asked. "They want everything," Tae-young said quietly. "Our ships, our freedom, our colonies, our people." Hyunwoo was silent for a moment. "Then we refuse." "That could mean war," Hyejin said. Her voice was shaking. "War with the entire galaxy. Better to die free than live as slaves," Hyunwoo replied. "What does the president say?" Another face appeared on the screen. President Kim was old and tired, but her eyes were sharp. "The people of Earth have voted. We will not accept slavery. Do what you must, Ambassador." Tae-young nodded. He had expected this answer, but hearing it still made his heart heavy. He was about to walk away from the only thing that could save his species. Or maybe he was about to save them in a different way. Before they returned to the chamber, a strange alien approached them. He was small and blue, with kind eyes. "I am Observer Melkan," he said. "I want to warn you. The Council has never been refused before. They will not understand what you are doing. Please reconsider." "Thank you for your concern," Tae-young said, "but some things are more important than survival." Melkan looked sad. "I hope you know what you are doing." They returned to the Grand Council chamber. Every eye turned to watch them. Tae-young walked to the center of the room with his back straight and his head high. Hyejin followed him, trying to look brave. "Well?" Vren asked. "Do you accept the Council's generous terms?" Tae-young took a deep breath. "High Counselor, we thank you for your time and consideration. However, humanity must decline your offer." The chamber exploded with noise. Aliens shouted and roared and made sounds that hurt human ears. Vren held up all 4 of his arms for silence. "You refuse?" he said. His voice was filled with disbelief. "No species has ever refused the Council." "Then we will be the first," Tae-young said. "Effective immediately. Humanity withdraws from the Galactic Council. We will close our borders. We will end all treaties. We will stand alone. You will not survive a year," Quillix shouted. "You need us." Tae-young looked at the Velkari ambassador with cold eyes. "Perhaps, but we will die free. Good day, counselors." He turned and walked toward the exit. Hyejin followed. Behind them, the chamber erupted in chaos. Aliens were shouting questions and threats. But Tae-young did not look back. He kept walking until they reached their ship. Only when the door closed behind them did Hyejin finally speak. "What have we done?" she whispered. "We chose dignity," Tae-young replied. "Now we must see if we can survive it." Their ship launched and headed back to Earth. Behind them, the Galactic Council struggled to understand what had just happened. For the first time in 10,000 years, someone had said no, and they had no idea what to do about it. Captain J1 stood on the bridge of his ship, watching the alien vessel approach. It was a Velkari trading ship, big and slow. The captain of that ship did not know that everything had changed. Alien vessel, this is Captain J1 of the Human Defense Fleet. You are in human space. You must leave immediately. The Velkari captain appeared on the screen. He was laughing. Human space? You have no space. The Council owns everything. We will trade wherever we want. Not anymore, J1 said calmly. Humanity has withdrawn from the Council. Our borders are now closed. Leave within 1 hour or we will escort you out. The Velkari stopped laughing. You are making a big mistake, human. You will be begging for food within months. We will see who is laughing then. J1 ended the communication. He watched as the alien ship slowly turned around and left. All across human space, the same scene was happening. Hundreds of alien ships were being told to leave. Some left peacefully, others made threats. But all of them left. On Earth, things were difficult. For over 100 years, humans had traded with the galaxy. They bought food, medicine, and technology from alien worlds. Now all of that was gone. The government started rationing. People could only buy a certain amount of food each week. Some colonies that depended on alien supplies began to suffer. On Mars, there were protests. People carried signs that said, "Negotiate, don't isolate, and pride won't feed our children." But most humans supported the decision. They remembered the Velkari attacks. They remembered their people dying. New posters appeared on Earth showing a human standing alone against the stars. The words said, "Alone but free." In a secret military base deep underground, Dr. Bora was working. She was a brilliant scientist, only 41 years old, but already in charge of humanity's most important project. It was called Project Horizon, and it had been secret for 20 years. Admiral Hyunwoo came to visit her laboratory. He walked past armed guards and through 3 security doors. When he finally reached Bora's office, she was staring at a hologram of a strange-looking ship. "Show me," Hyunwoo said. Bora smiled. "We have been preparing for this day for a long time, Admiral. While we were part of the Council, we had to follow their laws. One of those laws said we could not develop certain technologies. They said those technologies were too dangerous. But you developed them anyway," Hyunwoo said. "Of course," Bora replied. "We learned early that the Council does not like it when younger species become too strong. They suppress innovation. They keep everyone weak so they can stay in control." She pressed a button and the hologram changed. It showed different inventions. "We have developed quantum fold drives that can move ships across the galaxy in hours instead of weeks. We have singularity reactors that produce 10 times more power than anything the Council has. We have construction swarms that can build a colony in months. And we have weapons that can disable any ship without destroying it." Hyunwoo stared at the holograms.
"How long until these are ready?"
5 years for full production, Bora said. "But we can start building prototypes now." "Do it," the Admiral ordered. "We need to be ready." Meanwhile, in the Grand Council chamber, High Counselor Vren was meeting with his advisors. Observer Melkon was there, along with Ambassador Quillix and Counselor Thess, a military leader from the warrior species. "The humans have gone completely silent," Melkon reported. "We cannot detect their communications. Their borders are sealed. We have no idea what they are doing." Vren waved one hand dismissively. "They are dying slowly. Within a year they will come crawling back and beg us to save them." "I am not so sure," Thess said carefully. "Humans are resourceful. They survived a war with the Velkari when everyone thought they would be crushed in weeks. They survived because we allowed them to," Quillix hissed. "If we had wanted to destroy them, they would be gone." "Should we take military action?" Vren asked. Thess shook his head. "Not yet. Let them struggle. Let them realize they cannot survive alone. If we attack now, we make them martyrs. Better to let them collapse on their own." Vren agreed. "We will wait 1 year. If they have not returned by then, we will discuss other options." But 1 year became 2, then 3, then 5. During those 5 years, humanity changed. The struggle of the first year made them stronger. They learned to produce their own food more efficiently. They built new factories. They trained new engineers and scientists. Dr. Bora worked day and night. The first prototype ships came out of the construction yards. They looked nothing like the old human ships. They were sleek and powerful, covered in armor that could absorb energy weapons. They had engines that could fold space itself. Admiral Hyunwoo inspected the new fleet from the bridge of the flagship. He had never seen anything so beautiful. These ships were not just weapons. They were symbols of what humans could do when they were free to try. Captain Jae-won trained crews in new tactics that the Council had never seen. They practiced formations that used the fold drives to appear and disappear during battle. They learned to work together like a single organism. The people of Earth and the colonies looked different now, too. The fear and uncertainty of the first year had been replaced by something else. Pride, determination, unity. Ambassador Tae-young, now retired from active diplomacy, watched from his home on Earth. He received regular reports about humanity's progress. He smiled when he read them. They had taken a terrible risk, but it was paying off. Representative Hye-jin had grown too. She was no longer the frightened young woman who had walked out of the council chamber. She was now a senior advisor, helping to plan humanity's future. 5 years after humanity closed its borders, they were ready. They had new ships, new weapons, new colonies, and most importantly, new confidence. They were no longer the desperate species begging for scraps. They were something else entirely, and the galaxy was about to find out. Council Captain Resk was bored. He had been patrolling the neutral zones for 3 months without seeing anything interesting. His ship, along with 5 others, was on a routine exploration mission. They were mapping asteroid fields that might have valuable minerals. "Captain," his sensor officer called out, "I am detecting mining operations ahead." Multiple ships. Resk sat up in his command chair. Pirates, probably. They like to hide in these remote areas. "Identify them." The officer studied his instruments. His expression changed from bored to confused. "Sir, the signatures are human. Human." Resk was surprised. Humans should not be this far from their territory. And after 5 years of isolation, they should barely have any ships left. "Are you certain?" "Yes, sir. 3 ships. But something is wrong with my sensors. I cannot get clear readings on their hulls. The energy signatures are very strange." Resk ordered his fleet to approach. As they got closer, he could see the human ships on his screen. They looked different from the ships he remembered. Sleeker, more advanced. It must be a trick of the scanners. He opened a communication channel. "Human vessels, this is Council Captain Resk. Identify yourselves and state your purpose." A young human face appeared on his screen. The human looked calm and confident. "This is Captain Jae-won of the Human Defense Fleet. We are conducting mining operations in neutral space." "These asteroids fall under Council jurisdiction," Resk said firmly. "You must leave immediately." "With respect, Captain, we checked the treaties. This is neutral space. We have as much right to be here as anyone else." Resk felt his temper rising. Humans had always been difficult, but this was too much. "You are no longer part of the Council. You have no rights. Leave now or I will use force." Jae-won smiled slightly. It was not a friendly smile. "I strongly suggest you reconsider, Captain. You do not want to do this. That was too much. No human should speak to a Council captain that way." Resk cut the communication. "Weapons officer, charge weapons. Target their engines. We will disable them and tow them back to Council space." "Weapons charging, sir," the officer replied. Then everything went dark. Every light on the bridge went out. Every screen went black. The hum of the engines died. Resk found himself sitting in complete darkness, hearing only the sound of his own breathing and the confused voices of his crew. Emergency lights flickered on, casting red shadows across the bridge. Resk tried his controls. Nothing worked. Weapons were offline. Engines were dead. Life support was running on minimum power. He looked at his fleet status display. All 6 of his ships showed the same condition. The communication system crackled to life. It should not be working, but somehow it was. Jae-won's voice came through clearly. "Captain Resk, we have disabled your vessels with an electromagnetic pulse. Your systems will restore themselves in approximately 2 hours. We did not destroy you because we do not want war. But understand this clearly. We could have destroyed you." Resk stared at the screen, which was now showing the human ships. They had not moved. They just sat there in space, completely untouched. "Remember this moment," Jae-won continued. "Tell your council what happened here. Humanity is no longer the weak species you remember. We wish to be left alone. If you leave us in peace, we will leave you in peace. But if you threaten us again, the response will be much worse." The human ships began to move. But they did not use normal engines. Instead, space itself seemed to fold around them. One moment they were there, the next moment they were gone. They had jumped across light years in an instant. Resk had never seen technology like that. It should not be possible. 2 hours later, his ship slowly came back to life. Resk immediately sent a message to the council. He wrote his report carefully, trying to explain what had happened. He knew they would not believe him. He was right. When his report reached the Grand Council chamber, most of the councilors dismissed it. Impossible, Friend said. Humans could not develop such technology in 5 years. Perhaps he is exaggerating, Quillix suggested. Fear makes people see things that are not there, but Councillor Thess was worried. He was a military expert, and he knew what electromagnetic pulse weapons could do. If humans really had developed them, along with fold drives, then the balance of power had shifted. We should investigate this seriously, he said. No, Friend decided. One incident means nothing. Resk probably encountered a prototype. Humans cannot mass-produce such technology. We will continue to wait. Only observer Melkon seemed truly concerned. After the meeting, he reviewed Resk's report again. The captain had included sensor data, though it was incomplete. The energy readings were unlike anything in the Council's database. The fold drive signature was years ahead of anything the Council had. Melkon tried to raise his concerns with other councilors, but no one would listen. They were too proud to believe that humans could surpass them, or perhaps they were too afraid to admit it. Back on Earth, Admiral Hyunwoo received J1's report. He smiled grimly. So it begins, he said to Dr. Bo-Ra, who was standing beside him. Will they attack us? She asked. Eventually, Hyunwoo replied. The question is when, and whether we will be ready. We are already ready, Bo-Ra said confidently. The new fleet is operational. Our defenses are in place. If they come, they will regret it. Ambassador Tae-young, reading the reports from his home, was not so confident. He knew the Council would eventually respond with force. They had no choice. Allowing humanity to defy them would encourage other species to do the same. The Council's entire power structure was based on fear and respect. Both of those were now in question. He sent a message to Hyunwoo. Be prepared. They will not let this stand. And when they come, they will come with everything they have. The Admiral read the message and nodded. He had known this day would come. For 5 years, humanity had been preparing. Now they would find out if it was enough. Ambassador Quillix stood before the Grand Council, his mandibles clicking with satisfaction. The time has come to teach humanity a lesson. They have insulted us long enough. He pressed a control and a hologram appeared. It showed 200 warships, massive and powerful. I have assembled a punitive fleet. We will enter human space, disable their defenses, and force them to surrender. We will not destroy them. We will simply remind them of their place. Councillor Thess frowned. 200 ships is a large force. Are we certain this is necessary? The humans have gone too far, Friend said. Other species are watching. If we do nothing, they will think the Council is weak. We must act. Observer Melkon stood up. This is a mistake. We do not know what capabilities the humans have developed. Captain Resk's report suggests they have advanced significantly. One ship with experimental weapons. Quillix dismissed. Nothing more. My fleet will crush any resistance, the Council voted. The majority agreed. The fleet would launch immediately. Councillor Thess was given command despite his reservations. He was the best military leader they had. 3 days later, the Council fleet approached the edge of the Sol system. Thess stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the tactical display. What do our sensors show? Multiple defense platforms around the outer planets, his officer reported. Approximately 50. We outnumber them 4-1. Thess nodded. Proceed with caution. Watch for anything unusual. The fleet moved forward. As they crossed into the Sol system, something felt wrong. The human defense platforms were tracking them. But they were not hailing or threatening, just silent watching. The silence was more frightening than any threat. Sir, I am detecting massive energy buildups, the sensor officer called out. Not from the platforms. From empty space, impossible. There is nothing there, Thess said. But even as he spoke, ships began to appear. Human ships, dozens of them, materializing out of nowhere. They had been cloaked, invisible to Council sensors. All ships, battle formation, Thess ordered. Raise shields! But the humans struck first. The defense platforms opened fire. Not with conventional weapons, but with beams of focused energy that passed right through shields. Council ships began losing power. Their shields flickered and died. Then the human ships attacked. They moved in ways that should not be possible, folding space to appear beside Council vessels, firing, and disappearing before return fire could hit them. It was like fighting ghosts. Damage report. Thess shouted. 20 ships disabled. 30 more damaged. They are not destroying us, sir. They are just knocking out our systems. That was almost worse. The humans were showing mercy, which meant they were confident they could destroy the fleet if they wanted to. They were proving a point. Then something new appeared on sensors. Thousands of small objects, each no bigger than a fighter, but moving together like a swarm of insects. They surrounded the Council ships, attaching to hulls and shields. What are those? Thess demanded. Unknown, sir. They are not weapons. They are just draining our shields. Each one is pulling a small amount of energy, but there are so many of them. Admiral Hyunwoo watched from Earth as the battle unfolded exactly as planned. The Council had sent a large fleet, but they had fought using old tactics against new technology. It was like bringing swords to a gunfight. Sir, the enemy fleet is attempting to retreat, his tactical officer reported. Cut them off, Hyunwoo ordered, but do not destroy them. Disable their engines and let them drift. More human ships appeared behind the Council fleet, blocking their escape route. Councillor Thess realized he was trapped. His fleet was in a box with human forces on all sides. More than half of his ships were already disabled. If he continued fighting, they would all be destroyed. He made the hardest decision of his life. All ships cease fire. Broadcast surrender on all frequencies. The battle stopped. The human ships held their positions but did not fire. After a long moment, a communication came through. It was Admiral Hyunwoo himself. Councillor Thess, I am giving you and your fleet safe passage to leave our system. We have disabled 80 ships. The rest are free to go. Take your wounded with you. But understand this. If the Council sends another fleet, we will not show mercy again. Thess swallowed his pride. Understood, Admiral. We will withdraw. The Council fleet limped away from the Sol system. Of the 200 ships that had arrived, only 40% were still fully functional. The rest had to be towed. Not a single Council crew member had died, but the humiliation was complete. When Thess returned to the Council, he delivered his report personally. The chamber was silent as he spoke. The humans have achieved technological superiority in multiple areas. Their cloaking technology is beyond our ability to detect. Their weapons can bypass our shields. Their fold drives allow them to control the battlefield. And most concerning, they have weapons that can destroy us but chose not to use them. Impossible, Friend said, but his voice was weak. I was there, Thess said firmly. I saw it with my own eyes. The humans are no longer a minor species. They are a peer military power, perhaps more than peer. News of the defeat spread across the galaxy within hours. Every species heard the same story. Humanity had defeated a Council fleet. The Council, which had ruled for 10,000 years, had been beaten by a species that had been in space for barely over a century. Some species were terrified. Would humans now seek revenge for past insults? Others were excited. If the Council could be beaten, perhaps they were not invincible after all. Several minor species sent quiet messages to Earth, asking about trade agreements and alliances. They had been under Council control for centuries. Now they saw a chance for freedom. On Earth, the celebration was brief. Ambassador Tae-young warned everyone who would listen. We won this battle, but the war is not over. The Council will not accept this defeat. They will try again, and next time they will bring everything they have. Admiral Hyunwoo agreed. He ordered all fleets to remain on high alert. Dr. Bora accelerated production of new ships and weapons. Captain Jaewon trained more crews. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The old order had been shaken. Nothing would ever be the same. The Grand Council chamber had never been so divided. Half the councilors shouted for total war against humanity. The other half urged caution. High Councilor Vren sat in his high seat, looking older than he had weeks before. Ambassador Quillix was on his feet, mandibles clicking furiously. We must mobilize the entire Council military. Every ship, every species. We will crush humanity once and for all. And lose half our fleet in the process? Observer Melkon challenged. You saw the report. The humans have weapons we cannot counter. They have tactics we do not understand. Total war would destroy both sides. Then what do you suggest? Quillix demanded. That we bow to them? That we accept their insult? I suggest we negotiate, Melkon said calmly. Humanity has only defended itself. They have not attacked Council worlds. They have not sought revenge. They have shown remarkable restraint. Perhaps we should match that restraint. Vren raised one hand for silence. We cannot negotiate. To do so would be to admit we were wrong. It would destroy our authority. Every species in the galaxy is watching. If we show weakness now, the Council will collapse. Better to collapse than to be destroyed, Counselor Thess said quietly. He had just returned from the battle and was still shaken. I fought the humans. I saw what they can do. They are not like other species. They are not afraid to die, and they have the weapons to take us with them. The debate continued for hours. Finally, Vren called for a vote. The result was close, but the hardliners won. The Council would not negotiate. Instead, they would maintain a blockade around human space and wait for humanity to make a mistake. While the Council argued, humanity was expanding. Dr. Bora stood on the bridge of a construction ship, watching as thousands of small machines swarmed over a barren planet. In just 3 months, they had built a complete colony. Cities, farms, factories, spaceports, everything a world needed. How many colonies are operational now? She asked her assistant. 73, Doctor. We are establishing new ones every week. At this rate, we will have over 100 within the year. Bora smiled. The Council thought isolation would weaken humanity. Instead, it had freed them to grow faster than ever. Without Council regulations limiting their expansion, humans were spreading across the stars like wildfire. Representative Hye-Jin was now a senior diplomat, traveling to meet with species that had secretly contacted Earth. She sat in a dimly lit room with 3 ambassadors from smaller civilizations. They were nervous, looking over their shoulders as if the Council might be watching. We want what you have, one ambassador said. His species, the Cerelians, had been under Council control for 2,000 years. Freedom. The right to govern ourselves. We are not looking to build an empire, Hye-Jin said carefully. We do not want to replace the Council's domination with our own. We understand, another ambassador said. We are not asking you to rule us. We are asking for your support if we declare independence. Hye-Jin considered this carefully. If small species started leaving the Council, it would weaken the old power structure, but it could also trigger a war. I will take your request to my government, but I cannot promise anything. Back on Earth, Admiral Hyunwoo received reports of increased Council military movements. Ships were gathering near the borders of human space. Patrol routes had changed. Something was happening. He called an emergency meeting with Ambassador Tae-Young and President Kim. The Council is preparing for something. I do not know if it is another attack or just intimidation, but we need to be ready. Can we win another battle? President Kim asked. Yes, Hyunwoo said. But if they send their full military, millions will die on both sides. We need to find another way. What if we open a back channel? Tae-Young suggested. Not official negotiations. Just a quiet conversation. I could reach out to Observer Melkon. He seems reasonable. President Kim nodded. Do it, but be careful. The Council must not see it as weakness. Tae-Young sent a coded message through secret channels. 2 days later, he received a response. Melkon agreed to meet, but in neutral space and with complete secrecy. They met on a small trading station far from both human and Council space. Tae-Young arrived on a civilian transport, disguised as a merchant. Melkon came alone without guards or escorts. This is dangerous for both of us, Melkon said as they sat down in a private room. If the Council discovers I am meeting with you, I will be removed from my position. I appreciate the risk you are taking, Tae-Young replied. But we need to talk. This situation is spiraling out of control. I agree, Melkon said. Vren is under enormous pressure. The hardliners want total war. He knows it would be disastrous, but he cannot admit that the Council made a mistake in how they treated your species. What will it take for him to negotiate? Tae-Young asked. Melkon was silent for a long moment. Honestly, I do not know if he can. His entire position is based on Council superiority. To negotiate with you as equals would undermine everything he stands for. Then we are heading toward war, Tae-Young said sadly. Perhaps, Melkon admitted, but there might be another way. If something happened that forced Vren to see the truth, if the cost of pride became so obvious that even he could not deny it. You mean we need a crisis? Tae-young said. I mean you need to survive one, Melkan replied. The hardliners are planning something. I do not know what, but it will be soon. If humanity can survive whatever they throw at you, and respond with strength but not vengeance, it might change minds. They talked for another hour, sharing information carefully. When they parted, both knew that the coming weeks would determine the future of the galaxy. Either the Council would learn to accept a new reality, or everyone would burn together. Tae-young returned to Earth and reported to Hyun-woo and President Kim. Melkan confirmed our suspicions. Something is coming. Something big. Then we prepare for the worst, Hyun-woo said, and hope for the best. Across the galaxy, various forces were moving into position. Council hardliners were planning their strike. Human fleets were preparing defenses. Smaller species were watching nervously, wondering if they would survive what was about to happen. The storm was coming, and when it hit, nothing would ever be the same. Dr. Bora was sleeping when the alarm woke her. Not the soft chime of a normal alert, but the harsh scream of a system-wide emergency. She ran to her computer terminal, still in her nightclothes. What she saw made her blood run cold. 4 objects were approaching 4 different human systems. Sol New Sol, Arcturus Station, Tau City. The sensors could barely detect them, but the quantum scanners showed massive energy signatures. She recognized the signatures immediately. They were singularity torpedoes. Planet killers. Weapons that had been banned for 5,000 years because they could make a star collapse. If even one reached its target, billions would die. She grabbed her communicator. Admiral, 4 torpedoes incoming. Singularity class. 17 minutes to impact. Admiral Hyun-woo was already awake in his command center. His face appeared on her screen, calm but hard as stone. Can we intercept? Maybe, Bora said, fingers flying across her keyboard. The torpedoes are cloaked but not perfectly. I can give you their locations. But Admiral, if we miss even one... I know, Hyun-woo said. Send the coordinates to all fleet commanders. Emergency intercept protocols. Authorization code Alpha 01. Move now. Across 4 star systems, human ships scrambled. Captain Jae-won was closest to the Sol torpedo. He pushed his engines to maximum, racing to intercept. The torpedo was small but moving incredibly fast. 8 minutes to impact, his tactical officer called out. We can match its course, but we cannot get a weapons lock. It is too small and too fast. Jae-won made his decision in a heartbeat. All crew to escape pods, except pilot and weapons officer. We are going to ram it, sir. His officer looked shocked. That is an order. Get the crew out, now! The crew evacuated in under 2 minutes. Jae-won and 2 volunteers stayed behind. They lined up their ship with the torpedo and accelerated. At the last second, they jumped into escape pods. Their ship struck the torpedo at full speed. Both exploded in a flash of light. The Sol system was safe. The new Sol torpedo was intercepted by a squadron of fighters. They surrounded it and hit it with everything they had. It exploded far from the planet. Tau City was saved when a defense platform used its entire power reserve to fire a single, perfect shot. But Arcturus Station was not so lucky. The 4th torpedo was closer when it was detected. The defending ships tried everything, but they were 15 seconds too slow. The torpedo detonated in space, not near the star, but close enough to the station. The explosion created a gravitational wave that tore through 3 sections of the massive space station. 200,000 people died in an instant. Another 100,000 were injured. Admiral Hyun-woo received the casualty reports with a face like carved ice. His hands shook as he read the names. So many dead, all because the Council could not accept being wrong. Sir, his tactical officer said quietly, we have traced the torpedoes back to their launch point. A Council stealth fleet. Ambassador Quillix was in command. Did the full Council authorize this? Hyun-woo asked. Unknown, sir. But it came from Council space. Hyun-woo stood up. Every eye in the command center was on him. They all knew what came next. Would humanity respond with total destruction? Did they have the right to, after losing 200,000 innocent people? Activate retaliation protocols, Hyun-woo said slowly. But modified. We will not use planet killers. We will strike military and infrastructure targets only. 3 Council core worlds. Disable their power grids, destroy their military bases, eliminate their communications, and wreck their manufacturing. But no civilian casualties if possible. Sir, That will take significant effort to avoid casualties, his officer said. I know, Hyunwoo replied. But we will not become like them. We will show them what we could do but choose not to. Launch the strike. Human ships folded into 3 Council star systems within the hour. They moved with surgical precision, destroying military targets while carefully avoiding cities. Power plants exploded. Shipyards burned. Command centers went dark. But not a single civilian transport was touched. The message was clear. Humanity could destroy them completely if they chose. But they were choosing restraint even in retaliation. In the Grand Council chamber, panic reigned. 3 of their most important worlds had been attacked. The military losses were catastrophic, and all Council intelligence agreed humanity was holding back. They could have killed billions but chose not to. Full mobilization, Quilix shouted. Every ship! Every soldier! We end this now. That is madness, Observer Melkon said, standing to face him. Can you not see? They spared us. After we tried to commit genocide, they showed mercy. What does that tell you? It tells me they are weak. No, Counselor Thess said quietly. It tells us they are strong enough to choose mercy. That is the most terrifying kind of strength. High Counselor Vren had been silent throughout the debate. Now he stood, looking like he had aged a century. Everyone out. I need to think, alone. The chamber emptied. Vren sat in the darkness, staring at reports of the attack. His entire worldview was crumbling. The Council was supposed to be superior. The younger species were supposed to need them. But humanity had proven they did not need anyone. More than that, they had proven they were better than the Council in the ways that truly mattered. Observer Melkon entered quietly, despite being told to leave. High Counselor, may I speak? Vren did not send him away. What is there to say? We attacked them with forbidden weapons. They had every right to annihilate us. But they did not. What kind of species does that? A species that understands that true strength is not just about power, Melkon said gently. It is about knowing when not to use it. We were wrong, Vren said. The words seemed to cause him physical pain. We were wrong about them. We were wrong about ourselves. Our pride has brought us to the edge of destruction. Yes, Melkon agreed. But it is not too late. You can still make this right. You can admit the mistake and negotiate a true peace. They will never trust us again. Perhaps not, Melkon said. But they might respect us if we have the courage to admit we were wrong. And respect is the foundation of peace. Vren sat in silence for a long time, staring at the empty chamber. Finally, he made his decision. The Grand Council chamber was packed. Every species had sent representatives. Thousands of aliens filled the seats, waiting to hear what High Counselor Vren would say. The tension was so thick it could be cut with a knife. On Earth, billions of humans watched on their screens. In the command center, Admiral Hyunwoo stood beside President Kim. Dr. Bo-Ra was there too, along with Captain Jae-won, who had survived the ramming of the torpedo. Everyone was silent, waiting. Vren stepped to the central podium. He looked tired and old, but his voice was strong when he spoke. Members of the Galactic Council, I stand before you today to address the crisis we face. But before I speak of the future, I must speak of the past. He paused, and the chamber was completely silent. 10,000 years ago, the Council was founded on principles of cooperation and mutual respect. Species came together to share knowledge, protect the weak, and build a better galaxy. But somewhere along the way, we lost sight of those principles. We became arrogant. We believed that because we were old, we were wise. Because we were powerful, we were right. When humanity came to us after the Valkyrie War seeking peace, we did not see fellow beings. We saw tools to be used, resources to be controlled. We offered them terms that no proud species could accept. And when they walked away, we mocked them. We said they would collapse within a year. Vren's voice grew heavier. We were wrong. About everything. Humanity did not collapse. They grew stronger. And when we sent fleets against them, they defeated us. They had every right to destroy us after we launched forbidden weapons against their civilians, but they chose mercy. That mercy is a mirror held up to our faces. It shows us what we have become. And I do not like what I see. He straightened his shoulders. Therefore, I am making the following announcements. First, I am resigning as High Counselor, effective immediately. Second, the council structure will be dissolved and reformed. No species will hold automatic superiority. All members will have equal votes. Third, Ambassador Quillix and all those involved in the unauthorized attack on human civilians will be arrested and tried for war crimes. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Some counselors were shouting in approval, others in anger. Vren raised his hands for silence. Finally, he said, I am formally inviting humanity to join the Reformed Council as an equal member, not as subjects, but as partners. We need their strength, yes, but more than that, we need their wisdom. They have shown us what we forgot, that true power lies not in domination, but in the choice to show mercy. On Earth, President Kim looked at Ambassador Tae-young, who had come out of retirement for this moment. What do you think? I think, Tae-young said slowly, that this is what we hoped for. But we must be careful. Words are easy. Actions will prove whether they mean it. President Kim nodded. Send a message to Vren. Tell him we are willing to discuss terms. But we have conditions. The negotiations took 6 months. They were held on a neutral station, with observer Melkan serving as mediator. The human delegation led by President Tae-young was firm but fair. They demanded equal representation, protection for all species from exploitation, and most importantly, the right for any species to leave the council freely. Freedom must be real, Tae-young explained, not just words in a treaty. Any species must be able to walk away as we did without punishment. The new council agreed to all terms. The treaty was signed by 200 species in a ceremony that was broadcast across the galaxy. Tae-young and Melkan signed first, representing the old and new orders coming together. Vren was there, though no longer in power. He approached Tae-young after the signing. For a long moment they looked at each other. Then Vren bowed his head. I am sorry. For everything. Tae-young nodded slowly. Your apology is accepted. But apologies alone do not heal wounds. It will take time to rebuild trust. I understand, Vren said. I only hope I live long enough to see that trust restored. Years passed. The new council functioned better than anyone had expected. Small species that had been oppressed for centuries finally had a voice. Trade flourished. Technology was shared freely. Conflicts were resolved through negotiation rather than force. Humanity became one of the leading species in the Reformed Council, not through domination, but through respect. Other species came to them for advice on technology, defense, and diplomacy. The humans helped freely, never trying to control or exploit. Admiral Hyun-woo retired, satisfied that the military he had built would be used only for defense. Dr. Bora continued her research, but now she shared her discoveries with other species. Captain Jaewon became an instructor, teaching the next generation of officers. 20 years after the peace treaty was signed, Representative Hye-jin stood at a memorial on Arcturus Station. She was now Chief Counselor for Humanity, a position of great honor. The memorial bore the names of the 200,000 who had died in the attack. A large crowd had gathered for the anniversary ceremony. Humans, aliens, even some Velkari who had come to pay their respects. Hye-jin looked out at them and began to speak. 20 years ago, this station was attacked. 200,000 people died because pride was more important than peace. We remember them today not with anger, but with understanding. Their deaths taught the galaxy a hard lesson. The lesson is this: we are all stronger together than apart. No species, no matter how old or powerful, has all the answers. We need each other. We learn from each other. And when we make mistakes, we must have the courage to admit them and do better. Humanity was pushed to the edge. We could have responded with hatred and vengeance. Some argued we should. But our leaders chose a different path. They chose to show the galaxy what strength really means. Not the power to destroy, but the wisdom to show mercy. Not the ability to conquer, but the choice to cooperate. The people we honor today did not die in vain. Their sacrifice changed everything. It forced the old council to look in the mirror. It created the new council we have today. It proved that even from tragedy, hope can grow. She paused, looking at the names carved in the memorial wall. So today we remember. We honor their memory by building the galaxy they died for. A galaxy where no species is seen as superior, where conflicts are solved with words, not weapons, where walking away is a choice, not a death sentence, where admitting mistakes is seen as wisdom, not weakness. This is the galaxy we have now. Let us make sure we never take it for granted. The crowd was silent as she finished. Then slowly they began to applaud. Not the polite clapping of ceremony, but genuine appreciation. Humans and aliens standing together, honoring the past and looking toward the future. Ambassador Tae-young, now very old but still sharp, watched from the crowd. He smiled. It had been a long journey from that day in the Grand Council chamber when he had walked away from their insulting terms. So much struggle, so much sacrifice, but it had been worth it. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy. They had done something harder. They had changed it. And in changing it, they had secured not just their own future, but the future of every species that wanted to be free. The galaxy was not perfect. It would never be perfect, but it was better. And sometimes better was enough.